Eddie Krawiec wins the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals for the first time, his first U.S. Nationals victory, third win this year in 5 final rounds. And you made us 4 first-time winners in the 4 professional categories, coming out of the #1 qualifying spot. Tell me about your day. I mean, when you say the #1 qualifier won the race, you think, well, that was easy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know it's been quite a while since a Pro Stock Motorcycle #1 qualifiers went on to win the race. I don't know when the last race was that happened, but I know 5 of them right off the top of my head that it didn't happen because I had those other 5 #1 spots. And you know, I went to Sonoma and I ended up #2 qualifier, went on to win the race, and just had a good weekend. Sort of straightened my program out. You know, I struggled a little bit towards the early part of the year, through the middle here, and I just got into a funk where I couldn't hit the tree, and I was struggling to tag the tree. So sort of revised my game plan. You know, I had what I called qualifying mode and race day mode, and you know, it seems to work for me. I think it's no better time than now to figure that all out and to move forward. So I'm excited going into the countdown.
For the 2nd consecutive race, you mentioned the Sonoma win. You beat Jerry Savoie in the final. He is racing for a berth in the countdown. Do you think about any of that stuff, or are you just so focused on this is my program? And
you know, I thought about it about for 0.3 of a second. It was like, okay, Jerry needs to beat me, so he's going to be hungry. But I just got to do what I need to do, and that's sort of the way it is, you know, with a racer, with the racer mentality. I think if you try to alter your program or try to change anything in it, that's when you bobble and make a mistake. So you know what to do best. It's once your helmet's on, go out there, don't think about anything, because if you do, chances are you're going to mess up.
Terry's here, Byron's here, your wife is here, everybody that works at Vance & Hines is here.
Yep.
Does that give you added incentive or added pressure?
Absolutely. My little girl Caden's here all weekend, and you know, hopefully this will be one that she'll get to remember forever. You know, it's very rare you get to share opportunities of winning or winning the U.S. Nationals with your family. You know, there's that famous Larry Dixon stuff with his father, you know, and Larry, and I'm really glad and I'm proud to race for the team that I am on. Terry Vance and Byron Hines, I mean, they're basically the pinnacle of the sport. You know, Vance and Hines is been on top for many years, and to be part of their program and be selected as the rider. And, you know, my teammate, Andrew Hines, you know, to have those guys as teammates and everybody standing behind you, and Matt has been like my trainer, as I'd like to say. You know, as I came on the team, you know, Matt took me under his wing and sort of brought me up to speed and got me going, and both him and Andrew have done that for me. And you know, here I am 3 championships later, and I've said it from the very beginning, all that reflects on how good those guys are. So to be associated with a program like that is unbelievable.
Handicap your chances of another championship as we get set now to start the countdown, and you come in on a 2-race winning streak, obviously right now, the hottest bike in the class.
Yeah, I think Jerry's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings in the countdown. You know, the guy's proven it. You know, he's the real deal. They got a great program over there, and he wants to win. And that's a combination for a perfect storm to come in and wreck a lot of people's weekends, including myself. You know, so I got a great motorcycle. I feel very confident going into the countdown. I'm actually excited and looking forward to it.
Eddie, what's Indy mean to you? I mean, you won 3 championships, you've been at the top of the sport, but this is still, I was asking Shane, no matter whatever you do, you're always going to be known you're a U.S. Nationals champion now.
Well, I basically, stat guy Lewis Bloom brought it up, and he said, hey, you've pretty much done everything, and I basically was going to hand over the keys to my Harley and say, all right, I'm out of here. I'm not even running the countdown. I'm going out on top. But to win Indy, you know, you hear everybody talk about it, and at the end of the year, you talk about 2 things usually: the Indy winner and the champion. So hopefully I can give them 2 things to talk about: winning Indy and being the champion. And you know, I'm going to do the best I can to go out there and run consistent. But you know, to do it at a home track, I've won Englishtown, and for me, Englishtown was my Indy because that was my home track. But now to do it in Indy, with it also being my home track and my shop right down the street and all our employees here and everybody that stands behind us, it takes a great team to do it. The rider or driver gets all the sunshine or glory or whatever it may be, but at the end of the day, it's a whole team effort, and there's a lot of people for us that make up our team. So to do it here with them and have us supporting us is awesome.
Was there even a single moment between Friday and today where you thought, maybe I won't, I just won't win this?
Not at all. I'll tell you what, I was very confident. I came in here and on Friday afternoon, Joe Costello was driving by and he stopped and he started talking to me, and I told him, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to win this. I said, I'll talk to you Monday night. And actually I told him Tuesday and he's like, no, Monday. But, but I had a good feeling coming in here. After my Sonoma, let's just say, win and getting everything straightened out, I feel I have great confidence. I'm looking forward to race day, and I feel good. And when you have all that in a package with a great motorcycle and everything just gelling, it really brings your program to the next level. And first and foremost, it's being confident as a racer. So I'm very confident.
Now, has she beaten you for the medal?
You know, my little girl Kaden, basically, she's my little shining star, and she's a little shy when you talk about her, but I won my Sonoma race, and before I went there, she told me that she wanted a Wally. And my wife said, well, you're not putting it in her room. And she's like, well, I want a Wally in my room. So I went and I won the race, and that's where my Sonoma Wally sits. And my wife has a thing with me cluttering up the house with all my memorabilia. She's like, just can't you keep it in one area? And I'm like, well, then, I need to build a man cave. And it's like, well, we're not doing that. But it's the garage is a man cave. So it's one of those things. It's very memorable, and I'm excited that she gets to share it with me, and she's part of it. And for her, she wants to be a racer when she grows up. And I'll support her 100% and stand behind her. So maybe I'm setting it up. Her and Andrew's little son Declan are best buds, and they love to play together and love to be together. So I think we got some future stars on hand, right? All right.
Now, motorcycle or funny car?
She has a dirt bike at home that she rides, and she sat in a funny car and she said she didn't like it. Okay. And she just told Alexis, no, I'm not going to take the ride.
And you can tell Anne-Marie she could go back to serving pizzas at Englishtown.
There you go.
But
Let me know how that works out for us.
Yeah, right. But you are such a cool and effective and confident racer these days. Can you briefly reflect on back when you went for the tryout with Vance and Hines? However many years ago that was.
A lot of it's funny because a lot of people, there's two ways to look at it. They can say you're cocky, and I honestly, I'm very humble for what I have and the program that I'm involved in. But there's a difference between cocky and confident, I believe, and that's the difference. I'm always confident. And when you lose, you got to learn from it. You need to bring it to the next level. I'm somebody that's never happy with the goals I achieve. I get it, I set them so I can achieve them, and when I get to that point, I reset my goal. And by doing that, you're always achieving something, and if you're always achieving something, it gives you that satisfaction. So when you set your goals too high and you can't achieve them, in the end, some people get depressed or some people get upset and not 100% happy with that, but I think if you're one that can achieve your goals and keep moving forwards and reset them, you're only going to do that much better. But Vance and Hines called me back in 2007, and it was actually late 2006. Byron and Terry called me up, and Terry got me on the phone, asked me to come out for an interview. I sat down, and some guy by the name of Kevin McKenna actually name dropped me. There was a handful of guys that, they're like, hey, we're going a different direction with our team. And of anybody up and coming, and I was out here sort of struggling myself. My first Indy race was back in 2003. I let Brian Schultz ride my motorcycle, and for Brian that was something special because I actually bought the last bike Dave Schultz was building. Dave was in the middle of finishing up his motorcycle when he passed away, and I bought that motorcycle. And Brian wanted to run Indy, and Brian and I were pretty close friends, so he calls me up, he said, hey Ed, can I borrow your motorcycle? And I was like, well, what do you want to do? He said, well, I want to run Indy. I'm like, well, absolutely, I want to go to Indy. So this sounds like a perfect match. And the way that program worked out was Brian, we rented an engine from Vance and Hines, went to Indy. Brian qualified number 16. Unfortunately, it rained out. I had to leave. And I had an AMA event in Richmond, I think it was, the following weekend. And Brian came back. He ran on gel first round and actually went red. But you know, I'm very happy to be able to fulfill his dream and get him in the show and be a part of his life. Unfortunately, we lost Brian and he passed away in a car accident. But you know, Brian was going to come along and crew chief for me the following year, and unfortunately with that sort of derailed my plans, and I went about it, and I just had to figure out myself, and I was sort of self-taught. I had a lot of great people that I've been involved with for years. You know, Pizza John, which everybody knows Pizza John from the motorcycle days. So to be involved with a good group of individuals, I think is key. So it was a long road, and I'm glad to be here.